Hi, this is Joyce Farrell. Let's finish talking about the program development cycle. In the last two videos you learned that when a programmer develops a program, the first step is to understand the problem. And we talked about a number doubling program that lets a user type in a value and find out what 2 times the value is. We then looked at planning the logic. And when we planned the logic, we looked at 2 tools, a flowchart and pseudocode, both of which express the logic of the program. In both of these, the user is allowed to input a number, the answer is computed as the number times 2, and then the answer is output. After the logic is planned, you can write the code in a computer programming language, and we looked at an example written in Java. After the code is written, you use a compiler or an interpreter to translate that code into ones and zeros. It becomes machine language, or the internal circuitry language of the computer. When the program is successfully translated, you can test the program. Testing the program involves executing it several times to make sure that the output is correct. For example, with the Java program, one way to run it is to go to the command prompt and type Java and the name of the program. When you hit enter, you see the prompt that was part of the program. Enter a number and 2 little right-facing arrows. You might type a 7, and when you hit enter, the output is the answer is 14. That's correct, and you have one successful test of the program. An experienced programmer knows that you had better test the program many more times to make sure it's correct with other values as well. So you might run the program again and type in 124. If the answer comes up 248, you become increasingly confident that this program does indeed double numbers that the user inputs. You would then run the program many more times, and finally you would be satisfied that it is correct. After the program has been tested, you can put it into production. Putting it into production means turning it over to the clients who will use it. It might also involve training the clients. You might hold a class for them in how to use the program. You might publish a booklet for them on how to use the program. It might involve all sorts of tasks to turn it over and make it a viable program. After a program is in production, over time you may need to maintain the program. For example, suppose your user comes to you and says, you know, the number doubling program has been working great, but the other day something terrible happened. We were running the program and it said enter a number, and a user typed in 7, S-E-V-E-N. The user pressed the enter key and oh my goodness, all these error messages appeared and we didn't know what to do. Well, the problem, if you can read that first error message line and kind of figure out what it means, it says input mismatch exception. The problem is the user typed a word and the program was only expecting a digit. You might handle this in any number of ways. You might change the prompt to say something like enter a number and make sure it's a digit and not a word. You might instead allow the user to enter a word but change the word into a number internally in the program. You might handle the problem in any number of ways. It's up to your client what they want you to do. But making the changes that are necessary is maintaining the program. Over time, your client may come to you and say, you know, we'd like some more changes to this program. For example, what if the client wants to let the user multiply any 2 values, not just 2, but maybe triple or quadruple any value? Or suppose the client says, you know, this program is so successful, let's start charging money, and I want you to keep track of the money the user owes us. And let's let the user put the fee on a credit card, so add that capability to the program. And of course, if the user is going to put the fee on a credit card, let's have the program dial into the credit card company and make sure the user has money available on a credit card. And you know, our good users, after they use the program 10 times, let's give them a discount and not charge 10 cents per use, but only 8 cents. And so on and so on and so on. And the user might have so many new requirements that you might say, wait a minute, there's so many issues here. I better understand the problem all over again, and let's sit down and talk about all the changes that need to be made. And when you understand the new problem, you might then want to plan the logic for the new program, write its code, translate that code into machine language, then test the new program and see if it works correctly, and put it into production with all the new instructions for the clients. And over time, that new program may need to be maintained, and the program development cycle may continue over and over again, many times over the life of the program. Thanks for watching.